get going. So we're going to start with our feet together at the front of our mats, tucking the tailbone, pulling the lower abdominals in to tilt that pelvis upright. We'll roll those shoulders back, pull the hands down alongside the body, chins parallel to the ground. And we're really going to pull those fingers down towards the earth. Try to squeeze the shoulder blades back towards the spine just a little bit so you're really getting that lifting sensation out of the sternum. And then the more you pull those fingers down towards the ground, the more the stretch you're going to get into that neck. So you do want to feel quite a bit of tension, or ideally we don't want to be feeling any tension, but because the tension's already there, we want to stretch it out, pulling away from the ears. And then you want to pull your head back so that it's stacked directly on top of the body. So you want to, instead of having your chin jutting forwards, you want to pull your head back over the shoulders or over the spine so that your ears are over your shoulders. And we're just going to take a couple of deep breaths here, getting right down into the base of the tummy. And expanding into the back as well. So the ribs, the lungs, which touch at the back of the spine, you want to expand into there. So the entire thoracic cavity is filling up with air as you inhale and then actively squeezing out as you exhale. Make sure the shoulders are still open and back without the head sticking forwards. Keeping that head to the back of the head against an imaginary wall, along with the shoulders, along with the bum. And then we're going to tuck the chin in, gentle stretch down the neck, and then we're going to allow the shoulders to roll forwards, and then curling your way all the way down to the ground. Chin is tucked in, so you're looking towards those legs, and you're gently letting the arms pull you towards the floor. You tuck that tailbone, and roll your way up. Pulling in towards those lower abdominals, curling your way up through the spine, one vertebrae at a time, squeeze the bum forwards, and then roll the shoulders back, putting those hands down alongside the body. Tucking the chin in, roll the shoulders forwards, allow the arms to pull you towards the floor as you curling your body in half. Chin is tucked in so the neck is totally neutral. Reach, reach, reach. And then tuck that tailbone, roll all the way up, pulling that pelvis upright, straighten into the lower back, the middle back, upper back, roll the shoulders back, open up the chest, chin parallels to the ground, make sure that head is on top of the body. Last one, tuck the chin in, roll the shoulders forward, rounding into that upper back, then curling around that mid back, lower back presses to the sky, and then tilting that tailbone upwards as you fold forwards. Chin is tucked in. I'm going to stay here for a moment and gently sway from side to side, loosely warming up those hamstrings, working into the calves. If you'd like to have a slight bend in the knees, that's totally fine as well. And then hanging out in the middle, allow the arms to softly hang towards the floor. We're going to one at a time slowly start straightening out the legs, walking the dog, walking those knees, pushing gently into those hips. We're going to do this again just now, but for now just slowly warming it up so we don't need to over hyperextend or work too straight. Just do what feels good on this chilly morning. And then soft bend in the knees, ever so slight, tuck the tailbone, we roll our way up one vertebra at a time, chin is tucked in towards the chest. Squeeze the hips forwards, tummy is engaged, and roll the shoulders back. Inhale, reach the arms out to the sides and up overhead. We interlace the fingers above the head, push the arms up and pull them back behind the ears, gently stretching across the palms. Squeezing the hips forward so we're not hyperextending into that lumbar spine. And then gently reach the arms around the back. Again, interlacing the fingers. This time palms are together, knuckles are pointing down to the ground. We're going to roll those shoulders back, straighten out the elbows, and then lift the hands away from the bum. Opening the chest, lift the chin up towards the sky, and try and breathe into that expansion. So in some ways, you're creating more space by opening up the front portion of the rib cage to inhale into that front body, but a lot of your breathing comes into that back body, into the upper portion of the back. So let's release the hands. We're going to interlace the fingers in front of you, but keeping the palms facing towards the chest and the knuckles facing away from you. So we're going to take an inhale, almost like a cat and camel. So we're taking an inhale, expanding into the back, rounding into the upper back, and send those arms away from you. So you want to get a bit of a stretch out of those shoulder blades, spreading, creating space into that back, that upper back as you inhale. Filling up a big beach ball of air ahead of you. And then as you exhale, press the palms away. Reach the arms overhead. Exhaling also allows you to pull that rib cage down, which helps to activate into the core. We're going to turn the knuckles away from you. Inhale, stretch across the back. Just gentle rounding into the upper back. It's a lot more air than we're used to on a first thing on the Tuesday morning. Press away and exhale. So you're getting that camel portion of the cat and camel as you extend into that upper spine. Last one, inhale, round, stretch those shoulder blades apart. And then press away. Exhale, reach it up. And then we're going to undo those fingers, reaching the arms up. Palms are just turned in, and we're gently going to reach over to the left-hand side of the mat. Keeping the body straight as if you're between two panes of glass, so we're not falling forwards, we're not collapsing backwards, although that was quite difficult, so you're probably not doing that one. And then you're pushing that right hip away from you. Try not to let the arms drop too much. You want to keep them fairly parallel, equidistant from the head. And then press that right hip in to help you draw back upright. And over to the right-hand side. Arms lift and lengthen as you side bend over to the right-hand side. Jutting that left hip out. Breathing into that increased space down the left rib cage. And lift. Reach the arms overhead. We're going to exhale, swan dive, folding forwards towards the ground. Inhaling, halfway lift up to tabletop, so straightening out that spine. Knees are straight for your tabletop, but if you want to have a slight bend, that's fine, just not a full-on soft bend just yet. So you want to try and lengthen into the hammies. And then exhale, you can bend the knees as much as you need to. I'm going to brush the fingertips along the ground, sink the bum back and down as you reach the arms forwards and up into your chair pose. Try and extend through those elbows, turn the palms slightly upwards towards the sky, and then pull the arms back. So as you twist, you're getting some more length out of the shoulder blades, which should make it more comfortable to pull the arms back. And then exhale, swan dive, folding forwards. You can keep the knees slightly bent, otherwise start to straighten them out. And then let's gently walk the dog once more. Hopefully things are feeling a little bit warmer. You're getting a little closer to the ground. You're able to press a little deeper into those hips as you wiggle from side to side. And then gently relax, placing the hands on the ground. Strong hands. We're going to take a big step back with the right leg. And a big step back with the left leg. Just into your plank. Hold it strong in this position. Keep those heels standing back. Shoulders are over the wrists. Knees are straight. Waking up those quads, the front of the thighs. And then lowering the knees to the ground. Wind the elbows into lower chin and chest. Keeping those hips up. And then lowering everything down to the floor. We're going to inhale gently. Lift the hands and chest away from the ground. Keeping that chin tucked into neutral. So the neck is in neutral. Release the hands down, tuck the toes. We're going to push the hips back towards the heels, stretching out those arms. And then just gently lifting up into your box position, your 4-point kneeling. Untucking those toes, working into a cat and camel. So we're going to tuck that tailbone, curving into the lower backs, squeezing those hips forwards and rounding the spine up towards the ceiling. Pressing my hands into the floor, chin tucks in to look towards your belly button. And then as you inhale, lift the tailbone, drop the belly down, and the width. Oh, exhale, we're compressing into that back as you open up the chest. Exhaling, squeezing it out. Inhale, expanding into that back. So all of the space we fill up with air as we take a deep breath in. Spread those shoulder blades apart, strong hands into the earth. And exhale. Drop the belly down, roll the shoulders open. And don't just look forwards with the head dropping down. Really pull the head up and find that length in the legs. You're taking the head back towards the bum. Tilt the tailbone, round it up, and really squeeze into those abdominals as you curl your spine up towards the sky, and really press into those arms. Where you're pressing here, this is where you're going to find the strength for your planks and for your push-ups. So make the most of it. Really work into this position. And then as you drop the belly down, arching into the back, opening up the chest, lift the chin, send the back of the head towards the bum. Without straining, gentle with your bodies, but really work into the end range of motion with control. Last one, tuck that tailbone, flexing into those abdominals. Really squeeze, squeeze, squeeze as you pull your spine up towards the ceiling. The belly button pulls in towards the spine, driving it even higher. Chin tucks in, so there's length and softness in the head. Go down the neck. And then exhale, drop the belly down, arching into the back, squeeze those shoulder blades together to increase that curve in the upper spine, which spends a lot of time around it. Lift the chin, really gentle. And releasing it to neutral. We're going to place the big toes together, open up the knees to the outside edges of the mat, sink the bum back, stretch out into your child's pose. Hips are right down to the heels, arms are extended out of that rib cage. And breathing again deep into the back muscles and down the spine, expanding where the ribs connect to the spine. That breath is helping you to stretch that little bit deeper. We're going to walk the hands over to the left-hand side, really lengthening that right arm away from you. And then gently over to the right-hand side, tummy to the right thigh as you stretch that left arm away. Coming back to center for a moment. And feel how maybe that side body release helps you to get a little bit deeper now into your centered extended child's pose. And then we're going to shift forwards back onto our hands and knees. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Shins parallel to one another. If you look between the knees, you should not be able to see the feet. And adjust those shoulders away from the ears and press strong into the earth so those shoulder blades are slightly spread apart. Without rounding that upper back, you do want to slightly extend the chest forward so you have a nice flat upper back. And we're going to be strong into the left hand. We're going to lift the right thumb up to the sky, parallel to the ground. Keeping the shoulders away from the ears. Back of the head is pushing towards the ceiling. Then gentle tuck in the tailbone so the lower spine is neutral. We extend that left leg out, straightening out the knee, and then flexing the toes to point towards the ground. And we're just holding this bird dog position for another 5 seconds. 4, Making sure you're squeezing up from that under glute, that glute fold. And then release that right hand back underneath the shoulder. Keep the left leg lifted. Then cross the left leg over to the right hand side of the body. Tuck the toes, push the knee away from the floor. And then use your arms to twist to look over the right shoulder at that left foot. So you're getting a nice big stretch down the left hand side of the body. And maybe even into the right glute as well if it is quite tight. And then gently lift the heel up, floating back to center. We're going to send the leg all the way out to the left-hand side, placing the foot down on the ground in line with that right knee. And you're going to walk yourself up, push the hips forward. Try to keep the hips square. Ideally, you have enough cushioning under your knees. If you need to fold your mat over to take some of the pressure off the knees, that's totally fine. So you might want to just get to that quickly, otherwise maybe you're on a nice soft mat anyway. You're going to take the left hand down, back of the hand towards that left shin, reach the hand towards the foot, and the right arm is going to rainbow arch over, so both hands are reaching down towards that extended leg without the bum sticking back. Squeeze the hips forwards, your torso and legs are between two panes of glass as you fold to the side. So getting a really big stretch in the right side of the body, maybe even down the hip if that's where you have a lot of tension. And you can also play around with it, so maybe you can close it off a little bit. So not closing fully, but closing it off a little bit helps increase the stretch. It just gives you room to push into that hip again. And then drawing yourself back up. Taking that right hand, placing it on the ground, a little bit away from that right leg, right or left arm reaches up towards the sky, and we're just going to float that left leg off the ground. Try and get it parallel to the floor without your bum sticking out, but squeeze those hips forward and tucking into those lower abdominals, rib cage pulls in. And then gently release the foot down, use those obliques and that top hand to pull you up. We're going to swivel the hands back down to the ground. Lift that leg, send it back, and placing the knee back down on the ground. Prepping for the other side, starting with your bird dog. So hands are underneath the shoulders, tucking that tailbone, strong arms, strong right hand, pressing into the earth. So you don't want to be collapsing into that shoulder. You want good lift sensation, shoulders are level. Left arm lifts up alongside the ear, thumb turned up to the sky, palm turned towards your center, and then right leg extends. Lifting out of that glute fold without arching the back. Tucking that belly button in. Tucking that tailbone under, so you're focusing on that hip extension across the glute. We hold for 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the left hand down. Take the right foot across to the left hand side. Tuck those toes, push the knees straight away from the floor, and then twist to look over that left shoulder at that right foot. Big stretch on the right hand side of the body. Strong arms, helping you to twist that much deeper, or side bend that much deeper. Lift the heel up, drawing it back to set through center, and we extend that right foot in line with the left knee. Pressing your body upright, so the heel is in line with the knee, the hips are pushing forward. Take the right hand, placing the back of the hand along that right leg, sliding the hand down towards those toes, and then left arm reaches over. So you still want to keep the hip above the knee and reach, lengthening those arms towards that leg. If you'd like to do this with both arms extended, it's hardcore in that oblique, but you can use that bottom arm just as a nice little pop, so it's not too strenuous. And again, you can wiggle around, feel where does that stretch feel the best. And that's the goal. No point spending time in a stretch where you're not actually stretching. Well, apart from a little bit of maintenance, but if you find a point that feels even better, gives you more benefit, and then draw yourself up using that oblique. Taking that left hand down, a little bit away from that that left knee. Keeping the knee above, or hip above the knee, right arm extends towards the sky, right leg lifts up parallel to the ground. No sticking out thumbs, squeeze the hips forward, shoulders are relaxed, and hold. For 5, 4, tucking that tailbone, lower abdominals engaged, 3, 2, 1. Drop the foot, using that top hand to draw you up, and then placing the hands on the floor. Extend that knee back down alongside the elbow. We're going to drop onto the elbows, shoulders over the elbows. We're going to tuck the toes and lift the knees up into a plank. Squeezing those knees straight, making sure your bum's not up in the sky. Lower the hips down without collapsing, but tuck that tailbone. So you can even squeeze the bum to help it tuck a little deeper away. And folding those hips in towards the lower abdominals. And in actual fact, we should have our arms parallel to one another if possible. So you don't want to be holding your hands. Arms flat on the floor, extended straight out from those elbows. Gonna hold for the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently lowering the knees, lower the tummy, and extending those arms out ahead of you. Thumbs are turned up towards the ceiling. We're going to slide those arms without bending the elbows. Slide those arms down the mat towards you. So basically all the shoulders around the ears, we're pulling that away. Keeping the chin tucked in. And then we are intentionally going to squeeze the glutes, so squeeze the bum, so flexing those bum muscles to push the pelvis in towards the floor. And then going to lift both arms straight up off the ground, and then allow them to float back down to the floor. Squeezing those arms straight up without extending away from you. You want to keep those arms sliding down in towards the back pockets of your pants, and down to the ground. Lift, number 3, and lower. Make sure you're not looking forwards, that neck is neutral. Lift, 4, and down. Keep the bum squeezing. Lift, 5, and down. 6, and down. 7, 8, 9, and 10. And relax. Place one hand on top of the other at the center of the mat, and then allow the forehead to rest on the mat. Relax those glutes. Feel the shoulders fall heavy towards the floor. Brief rest. We're going to reach the arms around the back this time. See if we can interlace the fingers behind you. So the same one that we started with. So interlace those fingers. If possible, try and get those palms to touch. We're going to straighten out the elbows, roll the shoulders away from the floor, and then use those hands to lift your chest away from the ground and lift the hands away from the body. If it's just a case of trying to get those hands there and working towards open shoulders, and that's where your flexibility to hold you back, that's fine. But if possible, try to use those hands to pull you up for a gentle back extension, upper back extension, and a really nice shoulder stretch. And release it back down to the ground. Hands underneath the shoulders. We're going to tuck those toes, push the hips back, stretch out for a quick child's pose. Hips towards heels, lengthening into the arms. And then keeping those elbows and forearms connected to the floor, we're going to shift forward so the shoulders come over those elbows, and then untucking those toes. Working a little bit into the glutes. Keeping the body nice and straight, so tailbone tucked, nice straight straight spine. Ski around might be a little bit of a ramp. So nice straight spine. We're going to lift the left knee, out to the side for a fire hydrant. So you want to keep the knees directly in line with one another as you lift that knee up. So you don't want to come forwards, you don't want to go back in weird circles or anything. You're just going straight out to the side and back down without shifting or falling over to the side. So we lift, squeezing into that glute, and in, 2, and in, 3, 4, 5. The goal is stability, so try not to rotate through the waist at all. 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go for 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop the knee down. Tuck the tailbone to reset. Shoulders should be getting nice and warm. We're going straight over to the other side. Right leg lifts. For 1, 2. Knees stay in line. Double check. 3. Sometimes your brain sends the wrong message staying there in line, but they're not quite. So use your eyes. They can help you. 6, 7. Try not to shift. 8, 9. Use those abdominals to keep your hips in line with one another. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to fall forwards onto our tummies, gently placing yourself down on the ground with control. Right hand crosses underneath the chest to gently press yourself up. Left leg bends, reach around with the left hand, grab the ankle, and pull the heel alongside the bum. If you can, swivel those fingers down the front of the foot, heel of the hand towards the toes. Press that heel of the foot towards your hips. Keep the hips pushing in towards the floor, and then try and square off those shoulders without that, whilst keeping that elbow up. It's a nice intense shoulder stretch. And gently release the foot down to the ground. Left arm crosses underneath the chest. Right leg bends, reach around with the right hand, grab the ankle and pull the heel alongside the bum. Elbow up to the sky. Roll that shoulder open and then twist so the chest faces the floor. Or try to square off to the front of the mat. Keep the hips pushing in towards the ground to increase that quad stretch. And then gently releasing the foot down to the floor. Hands underneath the shoulders. We're going to tuck those toes, push the hips back for a little cobra, a little child's pose once more, stretching out the arms. And then you're going to lift up into a downward facing dog. Lift the hips to the side. Arms pressed overhead. Now I'm just going to pedal out the feet one at a time, really working into those hammies once more. Working into those hips. Dropping out of those shoulders. Notice if your shoulders are tracking up around the ears. Try to release that a little bit. Or think about actively sliding those shoulder blades down back. 3, 2, 1. Sink both heels down. We're going to lift both heels up. Tighten the tummy and ripple forwards into your plank. Shoulders move over the wrists. We're doing 3 ripples. Lift the hips, press back. 1. Lift and take as much space as you can to get to your plank, keeping that height and elevation away from the floor. And lift up, downward facing dog. Number 2. Lift and round, creating space through those shoulders, extending into the up back and front, so you're not just rounding into your plank. Strong. And then lift back to downward facing dog. We're going to walk the feet to the front of the mat. Feet together, big toes touching, ankles touching. Tuck the chin in, arms hang heavy towards the ground. We're going to tuck the tailbone and round your way up, curling through the spine, One vertebra at a time. And roll the shoulders back. Inhale, reach the arms up and up overhead. Exhale, swan dive, folding forwards. Inhale, halfway lift to tabletop, straighten the spine by folding that tailbone up. The pelvis folds forwards and shoulders squeeze back. Exhale, fold forwards, bend the knees nice and deep, brush the fingers along the ground, sink the bum down, reach the arms up into your chair pose. Palms are turned in, thumbs draw back behind you without sticking out your head. Keep the head in line with the rest of the spine. Exhale, fold forwards, reach the hands to the ground, bend the knees, left foot steps back, right foot steps back into your plank. Lowering the knees, wind those elbows in, lower chin and chest whilst the hips stay up off the ground, and gently flatten all the way to the floor, tops of the feet to the ground. Hands on the shoulders, we're going to roll the shoulders back. Pull the belly button in and away from the floor as you lift up for your cobra. Elbows are bent, shoulders are rolled open. Pull the head back in line with the rest of the spine. If it's too intense for your back, remember you can work into your Sphinx. Tuck the toes, pull the hips back, stretching out those arms, stretching out the soles of the feet. And then lifting back up into your 4-point kneeling, back into your box position. Position those hands underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips. We're going to do a variation or an extension of your cat and camel. This time with an added glute involvement and a little bit more intense on the crunch abdominal side of things. So strong in the arms, strong in the tummy as well, so you're not just going to flop around the back, but keeping it controlled through that TA, so you're connecting hip bone to hip bone with that lower abdominal muscle, your transverse abdominals. I'm going to point the left toes up towards the ceiling, squeezing into that left glute. So you want to get a big fold underneath that thumb. And then once you've reached that maximum point, then you can get a nice little back extension through the spine. And then we're going to curl it in, rounding to the back, punching the knee to nose. And then press through the glute. First, extend the hip and then arch the back. And then round, curling everything in. Number 2, big squeeze. Use those abdominals. Strong arms help you curl that much more as well. And then straight spine, flex through the glutes, and then arch through the back. And then round it in. 3. Extend through the glute, arch through the back, and round it in. 4. Extend straight spine through the glute, arch the back, and round it in. 5. We're going to do 3 more. Extend through the glute, working that bum, arch to the back, and round it in. 6. Extend, straight line, then arch, and round. 7, crunching into those abs. Lift, arch, and curl it in. For 8. And release that knee gently onto the mat. I'm going to open up those knees, toes together, sink the bum back into your extended child's pose, just to give those arms a little bit of a break. And release those hips. Breathing into your spine. And then lift back up onto your hands and knees, feeling fresh. Same thing on the other side. So we're going to point the right toes up, flexing into that glute, or extending into the hip really, and then arch the back, gentle arch, and curling through, rounding into the abdominal, and then extend the hip, arch the back, and round. Number 2, extend the hip, round the back, and curl it in. 3, extend the hip, curl the back, and 4, extend full, then arch, and round. 5, squeeze the glute, arch the back, and in. 6, squeeze, arch. 7, squeeze, arch, and 8. Release the knee down. We're going to keep the hips over the knees, stretching the arms forward into your puppy pose, melting the chest down to the ground, keeping the bum up in the sky, and then try and tuck that tailbone a little bit more so that you can focus on the upper back. So what can happen is if you're quite rounded in the upper back, then you tend to only drop into the lumbar portion of the spine, which already arches this way so much of the time. So tuck the tailbone and open into the chest. Chest drops to the floor. We're going to take the right arm, threading it underneath the left armpit, coming to line with right ear, right shoulder, and then left arm floats around the back, either into the small of the lower back or tuck that left hand right around into that right inner thigh. Using your right arm as leverage to twist you deeper open as your chest opens towards the ceiling. So pull that left shoulder back, open up. Big twist through the spine, nice openness with shoulders. And then place the left hand extends out along the mat once more. Right hand untucks and stretches away. And then left arm threads underneath the left armpit, coming to line with left shoulder, left ear. And right arm reaches up and around into the small of the lower back, or tucks to that left inner thigh. Pull that top shoulder back as you open up the chest, twisting deep into the spine. And release the hand in front of the face and press you back up to your box position. Hands under shoulders. We're going to tuck those toes, lift the hips up to your downward facing dog. Heels sink down. So we've done a good little set of lower body work. Let's do one more round of the upper body planks. So we're going to lift the right leg up towards the ceiling. Lift up onto the left toes. Shift forward to your plank. We're just going to hold the plank here for today. Right leg stays lifted, but then we're going to bring your right knee in towards your chest for 5 little mountain climbers. Kick it back, bring it in, 4, kick it straight back, 3, 2, and 1. Kick it back. Face the foot down, lift the hips up, down facing dog. Deep breath in, and exhale. Lift the left leg up towards the ceiling. Lift up onto your right toe, shift forwards into your plank, left leg stays hovering. And 5, knee to chest, and straight back. 4, and back. 3, and back. 2, and back. And 1, and back. Kick it straight back, up, and downwards facing dog. Walking the feet to the front of the mat. Feet together, arms heavy, chin tucks in. You tuck the tailbone and curl your way up towards the sky. Round, round, round. And roll the shoulders back to standing. We're going to grab a seat in the center of the mat. Knees bent, feet hip distance apart. We're going to do half curl downs with a full spinal extension. So arms extended out in front of you, shoulders down away from the ears. I'm going to tuck that tailbone, folding into those lower abdominals, curling just to halfway where you might feel like your feet need to come off the ground. You might fall over, don't, please. And then curling your way all the way back. Extend the spine up. So lifting those arms to extend without popping the ribs, although it is harder with the knees bent, so should be safe. Reach the arms forward, curl the spine, round it down, halfway, and reach it forwards. Extend all the way up. 2, reach forward, tuck tailbone, round it up, and extend all the way up. 3, reach, curl through the spine. Keep those shoulders away from the ears, and extend all the way up. 4, exhale, roll, deep breath in, and exhale. 5, halfway down, slow and controlled, and extend. 6, 2 more. My arms are getting tired. After all those lengths, I suppose. 7, and reach, roll down, and 8. Release the hands down, extend the legs out in front of you. Just a little bit of quad reinforcement. We're going to turn the left toes out to 45 degrees. Hands are either alongside the body, or you can extend the arms all the way up if you're looking for a challenge. Or see if you can extend the arms up. If it doesn't work, put the hands down on the ground. Okay, and we're just going to lift the straight leg up and down off the floor. Nice and gentle, floating. We're doing 8. So left toes are turned out, nice and straight leg. We go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Very nice. Right toes turn out 45 degrees as well. We go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Most of the work happens from just keeping that leg straight. 6, 7, and 8. Release. Let's fold the arms forward, folding tummy onto those legs. Toes are flexed towards the face and not turned in. Open up the book and allow the head to relax. Your neck is relaxed. And release. Bring your right foot in, flexing the right sole of the foot to the left inner thigh. Extend the arms and fold them forwards onto that single leg. Making sure you're not twisting the hips open. Keep those hips square as they were when they started, which does make keeping the arms square a lot easier as well. As you fold forward, keep those shoulders down away from the ears. Even better if you can roll them back and extend from the chest as you fold. And slowly releasing all the way up, taking that bent leg, crossing it over to the outside of that extended leg. You're going to wrap the arm around the knee, or take a right hand behind you and hook the elbow to the outside of that knee. So left elbow to the outside of the right knee. You can have your hand up at stop sign or waving, whatever floats your boat. Or you can extend the arm out if you feel like that gets you better leverage, or if you're still stuck on the forearm instead of making it past the elbow, which is totally fine. The further back you get that right hand, the more leverage you'll get. If the elbow on the outside of the leg doesn't work for you, you can just grasp that knee towards the chest and shoulder. So it's a nice spinal twist as well as a glute stretch. And just sort of demonstrates how the glutes and the spine are so nicely connected as well. Well, sometimes nicely, sometimes that can be the cause of some of the problems. The glutes, tightness in the glutes can cause some of that lower back pain, or that lower back tightness. And release, extending that right leg out. Left foot slides in, placing the sole of the foot to the inner thigh. Sitting up nice and straight, remembering not to twist those hips open. Now pull that right hip back. Extend the arms, adjust the shoulders, you fold forward or reach forwards. Keeping the shoulders down, extending out of the chest as you stretch down those hamstrings. Maybe this gets you a little bit into the back as well. Try to relax the belly. You might find that you're tensing up into that abdominal area. Try to relax, breathe a little easier into that portion. And slowly sliding up to seated. Taking the bent leg, crossing it over the extended leg, either wrapping that right arm around that left knee, or left hand behind the back to prop you up tall. Hook the elbow to the outside of the knee and wind that palm upwards if comfortable. Otherwise, straight arm is totally fine. Working within your practice today. Try not to lean too far back. Use the hand nice and close towards your bum to give you some space between those vertebrae, helping you to deepen your twist. And release, extending those legs. Extend the arms out ahead of you, tuck that tailbone and now roll all the way down onto your back. One vertebra at a time until you're flat on the floor. Bending those knees. We're going to cross the right ankle over the left knee, reach through for the back of the left thigh and pull that left thigh towards you. The closer you get your right foot in towards your hip, and the more you push your right elbow into that right knee, the more it's going to stretch out that glute. Untucking that tailbone towards the ground to intensify that stretch as well. And releasing that foot down, right foot faces down, left ankle crosses over right knee. Tuck it in nice and close. Open up that left knee, reach the hands through for the back of the right thigh, and pull the knee towards you. And releasing the foot down to the ground. Both feet to the floor, shuffle the feet to the outside edges of the mat. Keeping the lower back flat, we're going to take both knees over to the right hand side, and then the right foot places on top of the left knee. Both knees pulling towards the floor, squeezing that lower back in towards the ground. You should feel a nice stretch over that left hip flexor, the left thigh. Maybe a little bit of a pull in the lower back, which is not ideal. The more you tighten the tummy, the more you're pulling away from that muscle, which is pulling on the back. Releasing the foot, lifting the knees up, adjusting the lower back, feet to the outside edges of the mat once more, and then both knees over to the left. Left foot places on top of right knee, pulling both knees towards the ground, and then squeezing squeezing the lower back towards the floor as well. Pulling away from that right hip flexor, right thigh. You want to scoop that right heel closer to your bum, that's also cool. In actual fact, if you want to grab that right foot with your right hand, that's going to intensify that quad stretch big time. Release the foot, draw the knees up. We're going to bring your right knee in towards your chest, left leg towards the side. Rock the toes over the face and all the way up to seated. Crossing the ankles. We're going to fold the body forwards into the lap as you stretch the arms away. Chin is tucked in, neck is relaxed, shoulders are relaxed as well. Try not to shrug, keep them soft. Now walk the hands over to the left hand side. And over to the right hand side. Walking back to the middle, And all the way up, and then cross the other ankle to the front, or the other ankle to the back. And then send those arms out ahead of you as you melt your tummy towards that lap. Walking the hands over to the left. Feel the difference and stretch. And over to the right. Working right out of that QL in the lower back. And back to center. And walk it all the way back upright. Soft hands on the knees, and just gently going to close the eyes and sit up straight against your imaginary wall. Roll the shoulders back. Tuck the chin down or parallel to the ground, and then pull the head back so you're stacking the head on top of the body. And just take a moment to appreciate the efforts and energy you put into yourself this morning. And take that positive energy into the rest of your day and the rest of your week. You can drop the chin down to flutter the eyes open towards the floor. And raise the chin up. Thank you, ladies, for joining me this morning.